Something that was meant to be a one-off video is now becoming a series. Welcome to episode 3 of Hot Takes. Wombat is the best in Oz right now, closely followed by Chill, in my opinion. You know what? It's difficult to argue against that if you're seeing that from the perspective of the ability to rap. And then you've also got to specify kind of what genre and etc, etc. Not to say that these guys aren't versatile. I mean, they are versatile, but and that's kind of the thing that goes against them in some way, especially someone like Chill, because someone who is a specialist in one genre or subgenre is normally going to be better than the person who's more versatile. The person who's more versatile, of course, can just do a better job all round, though. You get what I'm saying? I think Wombat's a little bit more of a specialist than Chill is, and I think that's why you would perhaps put him ahead of Chill. In my opinion, yeah, Wombat is the better rapper. Chill is the better songwriter. You know, Chillin' It makes better all-rounded music, is better at creating hooks, whereas Wombat, if you're saying just give me a 32, that's what Wombat can do. Maybe he does have that songwriting ability in the locker somewhere, just I haven't seen it as well showcased as Chill, and I think, you know, that's okay. Again, Wombat isn't the most easily accessible artist. Wombat isn't the most easy listening artist either, but he can rap his fucking ass off, and he showcased that in a variety of different ways. So Wombat being one of the best rappers in Oz, I would agree with. Being the best, I guess that's up for debate, down to your personal preference. Now, I was about to say for me it's Alex Jones, but you do say in Oz right now, and Alex Jones isn't actually putting out music at the moment. So if we're talking about right now, I think, I want to say yes, but there's just so many people that I think deserve to be in the discussion. I'm going to go for he deserves to be in the discussion for one of the best, yeah. Oh, I've only just seen this now, but I'm going to pull this back. I'm recording this near the end of the video, but I'm going to pull this back to, yeah, power of editing. Wombat has the best flow in Oz, but Chill makes better songs in general. I think that kind of supports what I was saying. Like, yeah, I think Wombat does have the slightly better flow. He has more creative flows, but agreed, Chill makes better songs in general. I think that kind of supports what I was saying earlier. Dust to Dust is still one of the greatest tracks of all time. Now, this massively depends on your preference, what kind of rap you like, etc, etc. But for me, it's one of my top 5 Aussie tracks of all time. For me personally, I'll never forget the time when I first reacted to it and I was just absolutely gobsmacked. Like, I remember just that feeling of like, yo, fuck everything else. I just want to sit here and just listen to this song on loop. Like, yeah, that tune still hits hard to this day. The only thing it really loses points for is, I guess, not being originally produced. I mean, it's obviously an Nas beat, which I didn't know at the time, now I do. Like, that's the only thing it loses points for. That was originally produced by an Aussie producer. I could argue that would be even higher up. But don't get me wrong, the beat is perfect for the type of song that it is, and I understand why they chose that beat. Some rappers are now more focused on quantity over dropping quality tracks. I say this because we haven't had many tracks on the same level as 2018 and before. I'm going to partly agree and I'm going to mostly disagree. I agree that some artists, some rappers are dropping quantity over quality, and the reason for this is that quantity, it means you've got more chance to get playlisted, it means more streams, it means more revenue, you know, and especially if you are a newer artist, you're building up a catalog still. So from that standpoint, I can understand. But I'm presuming you're talking about rappers that have been established and you just prefer their content from 2018 and before. Maybe your taste in hip-hop isn't progressing with the current times. I know mine's like that with UK rap especially. I know that my taste isn't really cottoning on with the newer kind of trends as much as the rap that I like from like 2016 and previous. So I can understand if that's what you're saying. If you just feel like artists just aren't putting as much effort in, or they're just not making the kind of quality rap as before, maybe that's just a personal preference thing. Remember, nostalgia is a powerful thing as well. Like, we look back at tracks 2, 3, 5 years ago and we're like, oh my god, that's so good. Why doesn't this track that they released last week give me the same feeling? Well, maybe that track from 5 years ago, you have memories attached to that, you know? There's a lot of things that can go into this. And obviously, I don't know you. I don't know why you feel this way. So obviously, I'm just speculating slightly. But the part where I do definitely agree is that some artists are just going for quantity. And you've seen this across the world, even in America. You know, you get artists like Drake and Lil Wayne, and nothing wrong with it, but you know, they'll drop a 25 track mixtape or project and in the hope that, you know, at least 5 of them pop off, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that angle, and some artists just look to drop 30 tracks at a time and they're happy doing that. For me personally, I prefer 10 to 12 tracks that are more focused if we're talking albums and projects, but again, personal preference. Like, the bit where I disagree is that there's not as many quality tracks nowadays. From 2018 before, there was I disagree. There was quality tracks before, there are quality tracks now. It just might not be from the same artists that you were looking for. And even those artists, maybe their style has changed. Maybe there's people that like their newer stuff and dislike their older stuff, vice versa. That's just, even some of my favorite artists, even I sometimes grow out of touch with them as they progress as an artist, but I get it from a creative standpoint. They want to try something new and they're not going to make the same type of music forever. This is the first one I've taken off of Instagram. I like this one. Drill is to grime what trap is to boom bap. 90% be more about money and fashion than talent. Oh shit. I wouldn't quite say 90%, and I think the... Okay, alright, let's break this down. The drill to grime comparison, I love. The trap to boom bap kind of thing. Like, boom bap and grime was kind of the foundations, and then it developed onto drill and trap. Kind of. I mean, both genres were about at the same time, but it progressed from a pop culture standpoint, and from what is trending, it progressed onto those other subgenres, right? In grime, yes, there were people still talking about fashion and money. I mean, grime culture dictates a lot of fashion over here in the UK. As for boom bap and trap, I can't really speak on the fashion side of things, and I know that is very different depending on what part of the world you're in. And as for money, same thing. Boom bap people are talking about money, and yeah, in trap people are talking about money. What I think has changed is the principles. I think the principles in which things like grime were built off of have been slurred and lost a little bit in the current trending market. Certain things in which our culture is built upon is kind of being disregarded as time's going on. And I'm all for change, and I believe that things should change and develop over time, but I believe you still need to have your core foundation principles at the root of that, which is why I think it is so important for people that have been in the field, who have been experienced within this industry, within the scene for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, to still be about in some way, shape or form. Whether it doesn't mean they have to still be making music, but whether that is going into the management, whether that is being a part of the label, whether it is being the A&Rs, whether it is setting up events, whether it is hosting channels, whether it is being a brand within the culture still, I think it is massively important. And I want to see more things like podcasts, and I want to see more things like radio interviews, and I just want more of those core things to just be pushed forward and just kept in the limelight, and still be a part of the current things that are developing. Okay, we built this because we wanted to use our own accent and we didn't want to all sound American. Good. All right, so let's make our own music then and not cater to the American market. That's one example of where something was built off of a principle, and maybe it's getting slurred slightly as time's going on. Not enough love between artists in the scene. Need more collabs, not who's hardest. I can see where you're coming from, but I disagree. I'm all for positivity, you know? I'm all for people collaborating and working with each other. I agree from that standpoint. But you've got to back yourself. Let's look at the environment in which 98% of hip-hop comes from. Doesn't come from rich, lovely neighborhood areas. And so, within that 98%, let's say 80, 90, 95, I don't know, whatever the percentage is. Whatever the percentage is of people growing up in those areas, it's a dog-eat-dog world. Like, you've got to watch your own back. You've got to cover yourself and some of your closest people. You can't be there for everyone because you can't trust everyone. And so let's take someone from that environment and throw them into this industry world where there's all these people in suits having meetings, and there's all this money, and there's all these new things that are new to someone. You can't expect them to go in with open arms and just be trusting of everyone. Now, you didn't mention the word trust, but I think it's an important part, because when you throw someone like that into such a big environment, especially in a short space of time, you're seeing it with artists. They're dropping one track, 5 million views. Life changes very quick for those people. I don't expect them to just be friendly with everyone. What if they're still in the mindset of the hood? What if they're still stuck in the hood? You understand? They're not just gonna love everyone and everything around them. So yeah, I don't blame someone if they're only backing themselves. I don't blame someone for saying, fuck everyone else, I'm on my own shit. I can understand that. There is love between artists. Just maybe it's not always shown on social media. I have conversation with artists most days of the week. I don't post every single conversation I have on Instagram or YouTube, etc, etc. Some of the realest conversations I've ever had, I've not mentioned to anyone. No one else other than me and that person. And that's not for the world to know sometimes. But that comes from a genuine place of love. There's nothing wrong with business. There's nothing wrong with doing something for the sake of content. This benefits you, this benefits me, or money's involved, whatever it is. And we make a mutual agreement. But there is a lot of love behind closed doors that isn't shared with everyone. Sometimes two people having a private conversation, whether it be on a phone call, whether it be face to face, whatever it is, sometimes that's showing more love than someone just putting a thing up on their story going, go check my man. Like, sometimes real love isn't always shown in the public eye. And as for not being the hardest, listen, if you're an MC, what, you're going to go in and come in and be like, yeah, listen, and I'm sixth best. No, you're going to say you're the best. You're going to talk your shit. You should always back yourself as number one as an artist. There's nothing wrong with being humble, but I think you should always back yourself. And that's just a contradiction within hip-hop, you know? Sit there on the mic and say you're number one, and then off camera or on camera in an interview, let's say, be like, yeah, I know I'm not the best, but I believe on the microphone, you should talk your shit. That doesn't mean people always have to agree with you, but yes, you should defend your brand. You should build yourself up as an individual brand. So I'm all for it, bro. I'm all for people making positive music, collabing with each other. Yes, I do want to see those things. I just understand if that takes a bit of time, especially in this market at the moment where there's a lot of new artists to the scene and not everyone's been about for a minute. And last thing I'll say on this is, not everyone is friends. There are some people that do not like each other. You just don't know about it. Again, not everything's in the public eye. I've come to realize this as time's gone on. There is so much that goes on without the wider audience knowing. But yeah, that's going to do for today's video. I appreciate you guys for watching this. I'm glad you guys are enjoying these types of videos. If you got any hot takes, let me know down in the comment section below. And when I put up the poll in future, or when I put out a question on Instagram, feel free to give me your hot takes, and we'll go for an episode 4 sometime within the next week or two.